Virginia Congressman Bob Goodlatte today introduced legislation to protect the Chesapeake Bay. It's called the Chesapeake Bay Program Reauthorization and Improvement Act. Goodlatte acknowledged that there are other proposals to reauthorize the Bay program. He said proposals like the presidential executive order and legislation that would codify the order would force more mandates and overzealous regulations on all of those who live, work, and farm in the Bay watershed. And joining us now to discuss his bill is Republican Congressman Bob Goodlatte, who represents Virginia's 6th Congressional District. Congressman, thanks for joining us.
Good to be with you, Bob.
Bob, would it be fair to say that your bill is a less punitive way to clean up the Bay?
Our bill is designed to incentivize the process for our farmers and our communities and home builders and others to take the necessary measures to reduce the sediments going into the Bay, but to also recognize that a lot of accomplishment has already been made, particularly by farmers who have cut in half the amount of phosphorus and nitrogen going into the Bay, and therefore that's not being recognized and would not be recognized under competing legislation offered by a Maryland congressman and a Maryland senator, which, if it went into effect, would set very high triggers which would be easily set off, which would then allow the Environmental Protection Agency to come in and supersede what's being done by the state of Virginia and the other states in the Bay and put farmers in a very difficult situation. The Virginia Farm Bureau, in fact, the American Farm Bureau, has been very against that legislation, and that is part of what prompted us to look at a better way to help the Bay, but also make sure we're helping our local communities and family farmers.
But I guess the question is will it get the job done? We've been talking about the Bay for a while now, and it's still a problem. The Bay is still, as you even say, the health of the Bay is still in peril in your release.
Yeah, absolutely. The Bay is the largest estuary in the United States. It's a very incredibly complex ecosystem, and it's important that we take steps to protect it. This legislation does that. It builds on the very substantial help that I was able to get for it in the Farm Bill 2 years ago, and it is based upon the idea that farmers already have great incentives to reduce and save money on the phosphorus and nitrogen that they're putting on their farmlands and controlling what is produced in, for example, poultry houses. And in doing that, we'll have the ability to get credit for what's been done already and continue to make progress. A lot of people are not aware that farmers have done a lot more than other areas to cut down on the amount of sedimentation going into the Bay, and the other legislation does not recognize that. This sets up independent panels to review what is being done, to make sure that sound science is being applied, and to make sure that farmers are being given all the help that they can get in order to change any practices that need to be changed to continue to make improvement.
Well, speaking of farmers, the Environmental Protection Agency has warned 2 valley farms to clean up. EPA inspectors recently found that 2 Rockingham County farms were not doing enough to keep nitrogen pollution out of the water. Is this EPA action okay in your view?
Well, certainly the EPA needs to be making sure that farmers are doing the job that needs to be done, and we've been following that very closely. And we'll stay in touch with the farmers and with the EPA to make sure that everyone feels that the way the regulations are being enforced is fair to them, that they're not asking for ridiculous things that only result in small benefits in terms of control of nitrogen and phosphorus getting into our streams. At the same time, if there are serious violations, we certainly expect that people understand they've got to comply with the rules.
All right. Well, Congressman Bob Goodlatte, I want to thank you so much for joining us.